A renowned piece of art by Andy Warhol is on loan to UNCP.
And a book sale raises thousands of dollars for literacy programs. I'm Brianna Goins.
And I'm Terrence Jeffries. You're watching Carolina News Today.
A concert celebrating literary and musical achievements of the Harlem Renaissance capped off Black History Month on campus. The program was put together by history and English classes. There were poetry performances mixed in with music faculty and students performing choral works and jazz classics. The concert was free and open to the public. Planning was led by Dr. Jamie Martinez of the Department of History. She told CNT the concert's theme is an appropriate complement to Black History Month.
Well, the Harlem Renaissance is a movement of African-American artists and poets and musicians and political activists all operating in Harlem, New York between the mid-1920s and the early 1940s. So it's a really crucial part of African-American history.
Counseling and Psychological Services has started a weekly support group for survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence or stalking. The group is called Circle of Hope and meets Mondays at 3:30 in the UC. Students can sign up at the CAPS office in the University Center to join. The conversations are meant to provide a safe outlet for restoring hope and a sense of empowerment.
Global warming or climate change, whatever you call it, the effects are unmistakable. One UNCP professor approaches this environmental issue in terms of policy making and risk management. CNT producer Crystal Dean talked to Dr. Robert Schneider from the Public Administration Program.
Climate change is a topic that isn't going to fade anytime soon. The effects of it are constantly making their way across the globe. Storms are getting more intense, and weather extremes are becoming more apparent at all times of the year. With these intense storms and weather extremes, there has to be a different approach to hazard management related to these weather patterns. Dr. Robert Schneider is a professor of public administration here at UNCP. His most recent book is called Managing the Climate Crisis, Assessing Our Risks, Options, and Prospects. It discusses how climate change and risk management go hand in hand.
So in studying natural disasters, I soon came across the literature on climate change that tells us many of the weather extremes that we experience, whether it be tropical storms, droughts, flooding, these things are going to get worse because of the impact of a changing climate. So that whetted my appetite and got me really interested in climate change from the standpoint of planning for future impacts that might create severe weather.
The burning of fossil fuels is a constant in our society and is one of the main reasons as to why our climate is changing. In order to produce the energy we need, we insist on the cheapest and most effective devices. Dr. Schneider makes it clear that scientists know what's going on, and the climate is, in fact, getting warmer.
The science is very clear. If we load more greenhouse gases, carbon, methane, greenhouse gases, into the atmosphere, this will create a warming effect. Think of it like a blanket, okay? If you put a blanket on and you get too warm, you can always kick it off. But if the gases that are trapped in the atmosphere accumulate, we can't just kick that blanket off like you can in the bed. It takes a while to get that out of the air. And we're making the blanket thicker. And as we make it thicker, it does warm the climate.
There are alternative energy methods that have little impact to the climate, therefore not greatly increasing storms and weather patterns. Some states already use wind and solar energy, but for overall global change, it's up to policymakers and the people in charge to make that change.
As you know, our politicians are divided. Our national government is sort of crippled by partisan division. But we are seeing at state and local levels some really meaningful action to plan for climate change and to reduce its impacts. And that's kind of encouraging because we're all going to feel it where we live. And so it's nice to know that the local governments are taking it a little more seriously.
Schneider's book advises public policymakers on natural disaster preparation, claiming that emergency response must be adapted to the new hazards.
Some changes in leadership are coming to the Bookham Writers Conference that's held in Lumberton every year. CNT's Kipper Weeks was there on Saturday and saw that it's still in good hands.
The 5th annual Bookham Writers Conference and Book Fair brought publishers and authors together once again to donate 40% of their proceeds to literacy efforts in Robeson County. While attendance did seem to only have a slight increase from the previous year, the organization was still able to raise thousands of dollars. The event not only supports authors and publishers, but also people like Amanda Milley, who is a consultant offering her services to local authors. She expressed that this event is not just for the writing community.
With an event like this, to see people come out and support it and want to read, it just instills faith that the community does need and want something like that.
With 5 years of promoting literacy, founder and current chair of the event, Trish Terrell, says Bookham has been able to fund numerous programs within the community.
One of the things that we do is we donate money to the Lumberton Police Department, and Chief McNeil and his police officers have actually gone into the schools and participated in Reading Across America. And a lot of times the books that he's giving them are the very first books that they've ever owned, that the children have owned. And we've also had people get books through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and Communities in Schools has supported a number of literacy programs in the school system, and Friends of the Library for adult programming. So the money is really going out into a lot of different areas in the community.
And for all that help in the community, local author Ginger King presented the Patricia M. Terrell Scholarship in honor of all the work Terrell has done for improving literacy in Robeson County. While promoting literacy is the event's main focus, the president of Robeson Community College, Pamela Hilbert, says the event supports the community in other ways as well.
The authors are from all over the country. The speakers are from different areas, North Carolina and other states. And the people who come are from all over the country. I just talked to a couple of people earlier who are from Richmond, Virginia and Asheville, North Carolina, who just want to learn how to write. They came as guests to look at the books, to buy books, to talk to the publishers and the authors. So it's good for our county because it brings people in who will maybe spend the night, maybe buy a meal, and learn about how cool it is at Lumberton and Pembroke and Robeson counties.
One of those authors brought into the community was Food Network co-founder Chef Curtis Akins. He kicked off the event as the first speaker and shared his story of struggling with illiteracy until he was 26 years old. Chef Akins says being open about his struggle benefits those around him.
But one of the reasons I try to share my story as openly as I possibly can is that because I say to children, especially when I was their age, had someone come into my school and talked as openly about their reading difficulties as I try to, I would have asked for help. So what I'm trying to do is just be that flashlight, just shine that light on the darkness of illiteracy, and let's put light on it. Don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. You can get help. So that's really what I'm trying to do.
Robeson Community College will take over production and planning for next year's event as Trish Terrell steps down as chair. For Carolina News Today, I'm Kipper Weeks.
The brick walkways on campus aren't really brick, and students complain they are slippery when wet. CNT's Luke Nelson tells us we're all advised to just be careful.
Spring is right around the corner, which means nature begins to bloom and severe weather continues to brew. Severe weather can create slippery surfaces for those walking on campus. Although many UNCP students watch their step, some say the walkways are slippery the most and spoke their solution to this wet dilemma.
A wood textured tiling because we do have a sustainability mission that we are taking on as a campus, and we're trying to be more energy efficient, things of that sort, and use recycled materials and things of that sort. And I think we should incorporate that into our flooring as well.
Maybe something as simple as a sign where you got areas where it's very slippery, where it's very wet, or there's many lakes in the middle of campus. They send out the campus alerts, telling you the weather report, stuff like that. But when it gets to the smaller details, it's kind of hard to categorize and identify these things.
The surface used for the walkways are stamped concrete and can be found throughout campus, which according to students is an attractive look that can help them navigate their way through UNC Pembroke.
Color of it, the print makes it look very traditional and yet also has a modern feel to it.
It's also really consistent throughout the entire university. From one end of campus to the other, you're always going to see this stamped sidewalk, and it leads people to different directions if you don't know where to get on campus as well.
I do think it's very appealing, it's very attractive to the eye. It does kind of give a a really natural feel to campus, because when you look around at the various landscape, it just kind of brings that all in.
Stamped concrete is currently being used to create the floor for the new UC patio that will be finished near the end of March. This surface can become treacherous during and after severe weather. Vice Chancellor of Facilities Steve Martin urges all students to stay alert and use caution when the surface is slick.
I would just caution everyone to take their time when they're walking across campus, and particularly focus on where you're walking and maybe not some devices that you might have. I know everyone's checking their mail or checking their phones, but sometimes that can lead to trips and slips as well.
Andy Warhol was a leading figure in the pop art of the 1960s. Recently, UNCP's Department of History was able to borrow a piece of his iconic art for public display. CNT's Morgan Sheehan has more.
When alumni from the university decide to give something back to their alma mater, it's usually a positive situation. That's the case for Jimmy Parks. He donated this piece of artwork, an Andy Warhol painting, to the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, where he graduated from.
What it means is that we have a tremendous relationship with our alums, and we value their ongoing collaboration and relationship with us. Jimmy Parks was a student here in the 1960s, and he was a student here at UNCP at the time the civil rights movement was unfolding. So when he had an opportunity to purchase this Andy Warhol print, it reminded him of where he was at the point in time when he was experiencing the civil rights movement. So it was a great fit for him to give us an opportunity to have the piece on loan, to show it to the next generation of UNCP students.
Andy Warhol was known for his pop art movement. He died at the young age of 59 from a post-operative condition. Prior to his death, he was known for the Campbell Soup cans art and gold Marilyn Monroe. These pieces made him famous worldwide. There's even an Andy Warhol museum in his native town of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is the largest museum in the United States that features one artist.
Perhaps the foremost practitioner, or at least the foremost known person for a style of art called pop art. And Warhol was important for lots of different forms of artistic expression. But one of the things that he did is allow people to begin commenting on things almost as they occurred. And art is a tremendous medium for people's ability to express themselves.
Thanks to alumni like Jimmy Parks, students and staff at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke get to share this special piece of art history. For Carolina News Today, I'm Morgan Sheehan.
A UNCP wrestler qualifies for nationals.
And golf captures the top 5 finish in this week's tournament.
This and more in sports when we come back.
The UNCP wrestling team came in 9th place out of 14 teams in the NCAA Midwest Super Regional Semifinal. Eric Milks, Brock Walker, and Stuart Nadeau each took home 6th place finishes in their weight classes. But All-American Blaze Shade won a 3-2 decision over Nick Vandermeer from Lake Erie. Shade's regional run ended through a 9-1 major decision to Nick Becker of Wisconsin Parkside. For the 3rd time, Blaze Shade will continue on to the NCAA Divisional II National Championship in the 174 weight class. After sweeping Shippensburg to end their homestand, the Braves spiked up at Barton this week for their first road matchup of the year. A 7-run second inning for the Barton Bulldogs had the Braves down early. Pembroke played small ball throughout, collecting just a double after the big Bulldog inning. But the Braves couldn't rally, taking a 10-9 loss. Having lost 4 out of their last 7, the Braves come back home for conference play against Flagler. Braves softball have won 3 out of their last 5 games coming to this week's game against St. Andrews at home. Braves pitcher Abby Walters gave up 3 runs in the final inning, succeeding Katie Saunders 4 innings of 1 run and 4 hits. However, Walters shined with her bat, notching a team-high 3 hits with an RBI in the 4th. The Braves came out on top, winning 7-4, and the Braves now stand at 8-7-1 with their first conference match of the year against Lander this weekend. Number 26 ranked Braves golf team had great success on the links this week at Armstrong Pirate Invitational, taking home a third-place finish overall. Ashley Thompson finished second out of 71 players, shooting a 70 in her final round. Laura Bird finished fourth overall with 275 shot rounds, including a 79 to finish out. The Braves will be back in action next month at the West Georgia Invitational. That's it for Braves Sports. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Dolphus. We're out of time.
We'll see you after spring break. Thanks for watching.